He's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Back on the program. Jim, you got a little bit of a smile smirk. I must have made you smile for some reason. You know, I like throwing shade on everybody before they come on. I didn't throw any on you. A little bit on the speaker. Well, I'm not cool with this CR. I see POTUS is okay for a while. But you know, I'd like to get back to pre-COVID spending or even better. Can we get there at some point?
Well, the other thing I think to take into account is we're now in a whole new framework, a whole new context with the DOGE cuts that Elon Musk and his team and President Trump are bringing forward. And it seems in that framework, we should probably look to incorporate some of those into this bill. In fact, I think even sometimes the smart play politically is to take the most egregious thing, pick whatever it is, pick one really good thing that Elon Musk has identified that is just stupid spending and say, okay, here's what we're going to do, Democrats. We're going to keep the government funded at the current level, but we're going to put this one DOGE cut in there that we've identified that is just stupid. And dare them to vote against it. You say, wait, you support that one thing and you're not willing for everything else to spend at the current level, and see if they're willing to shut down the government. I think that makes good political sense. That is actually, I think, saves us money in the long run. So I'd be kind of in favor of something like that. But typically, CRs do save us money because I've been here a number of years, and whenever you do a new appropriations process, new appropriation bills, or some giant omnibus bill, they always plus up the numbers, and everybody gets more money, and the taxpayers lose.
Okay, I see your point.
So I'm for either holding the line, but it seems to me hold the line and pick one really dumb thing that Elon Musk has identified in the DOGE effort that government is spending money on, and get rid of it. I think that'd make a lot of sense.
I mean, there's so many dumb things. Y'all could throw a bunch of them in, Jim. And then if Democrats said no to it, they'd look like a lot of egg on their face. Like, you know, pull the money for the trans play in Siberia, pull the gay Sesame Street in Iraq, pull that kind of crap. Pull all that stuff. And then if they say no, I don't know how anybody, I don't care what kind of voter you are, how anybody can look at that stuff and go, oh, I'm with the Democrats. I'm with the, anyway.
No. I'm for that kind of play. Let's see if we can do it.
Right. Let's talk more about those cuts because, I mean, wow. People are losing their ever-loving mind. They think that Elon Musk is stealing their private information at the IRS. They think their kids are going to suffer and even get worse grades because Department of Education might shut down. They think that people aren't going to get clean water in Darfur because he's shutting down USAID. I mean, they're making up everything under the sun. And then Elon goes on Joe Rogan and says because he's exposing all this, this may happen to him. Roll this clip and I'll get your take on the backside, Jim.
I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed.
Is he exaggerating? Or, I mean, Elon's a pretty serious guy sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he's. I'm sure he's got all kinds of death threats. I mean, I know what members of Congress get. I just typically don't talk about it a lot. But look, there are people out there who say crazy things, and let's hope they never do crazy things. So there are all kinds of threats that members get, and on both sides. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to Democrats either, but it's wrong. Period. So I don't doubt him for a minute. And then when the left is ginning it all up, and the left is saying the things they're saying about Elon Musk, who's simply doing the work he was asked and tasked to do by the President of the United States, and the President campaigned on it, told the whole world he was going to have this DOGE effort, told the whole world that Elon Musk was going to be leading the effort. And now when he actually identifies stupid spending things, what's the left do? They attack Elon Musk instead of addressing the stupid spending. So I'm sure that that's happening to him, and it's wrong. But God bless him for the work he's doing and the ridiculous spending that he is now exposing to the whole country.
Jim, I got a couple more headlines emanating from the swamp, so let me just do speed headlines with you before you have to run. I know you got to get back to work. Speaking of crazies trying to kill people in the MAGA movement, a new report says that the would-be assassin Thomas Crooks from Butler may have had an accomplice. A lot of people were throwing that around. We haven't heard much about this since President Trump took office. We know there's a full investigation happening. You're head of Judiciary. What do we know about this investigation and the guy that almost killed President Trump?
Yeah, nothing more than what you've told me. I do think it's interesting that the previous administration, the Justice Department, the FBI, there were so many things that we just didn't get answers to. Like, we don't know who planted the pipe bombs on January 6, 2021. The Biden administration could never tell us that. We don't know, who leaked the Dobbs opinion. that resulted in an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. We don't know who put cocaine at the White House, for goodness sake. How can we not know that? But it happened. And now there's questions about this assassination attempt on then presidential candidate, current president, obviously, of the United States. So, yeah, I mean, and we saw what happened with how the Secret Service initially misled, lied to the country about what happened there in Butler. And she had to resign as a result of it. So, yeah, there's all kinds of. Now, remember last week we sent, I think, 7 different subpoenas to the FBI asking for information about a lot of these issues. The school board's issue, the memorandum that said if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist, about the 26 confidential human sources. So we're expecting to get that information from the FBI here in the next week. On so many, the Iran hack of the Trump campaign and other issues. So we want all that information.
We'll follow up with you then on that one, Jim. All right, sounds good. A few more real quick. Everybody's worried about President Trump's hardcore executive order maneuvers to try and rescue the economy by slapping tariffs on different countries, right? Well, it seems to be working in some respects because Honda just announced, Jim, that they're bringing their most popular car, the Civic, next to the Accord. These are their best sellers, right? The production, they're leaving Mexico because of the tariff, and they're going to start building them in the Hoosier State, Indiana, yay! And then today at the White House, chip maker TSMC stood up there with the president and announced they're going to spend over $100 billion on building chips in America. So, gee, Jim, all that gaslighting by the left saying, oh my gosh, the American taxpayer is going to have to pay all this tariff money in the way of increased pricing because Trump doesn't know what he's doing, seems to start, it's working.
Well, yeah, the chip company announcing they're coming here. I mean, this is a testimony to President Trump's leadership. Honda, of course, is an amazing company, headquartered in our district, Marysville, Ohio, has facilities all across Ohio, in Indiana, and up down in Alabama, all kinds of places. So that's great news as well, is that they're going to be having more jobs right next door in the Hoosier State, next to the Buckeye State. So all that is positive. And again, I think it's just a reflection of the leadership of President Trump. I mean, even with Canada and Mexico, he threatened tariffs, and then they suddenly start helping us with our border. And right now, our border hasn't been this secure since President Trump was last in office.
Right.
So again, just a reflection of the type of real intense negotiation that President Trump and the way he negotiates and gets results and his leadership.
My last one's a simple one because everybody's talking about it. I knew this will last more than the 3 to 5 day normal news cycle. The meeting heard around the world, President Trump, Vice President Vance, Ukrainian President Zelensky in the Oval. I believe it was a question by our reporter, Daniel Baldwin, who started the whole thing. OAN, the first time in the Oval, starts a big international debacle. No, I'm just kidding. But he did ask the question about diplomacy. President Trump answered it. Zelensky chimed in, and that's when JD said, "You speak of diplomacy, sir," and then it went off the rails from there. I feel what JD and what the president did was correct in the best interest of this country. They put Zelensky in his place and said, look, hundreds of billions of dollars, we want peace. You don't sound like a guy that wants peace. By the way, no lunch for you. Go home. What do you feel about that meeting, and where does it leave us?
No, I think you're right. President Trump is the one guy on the planet who's working to try to stop this thing. Get to a ceasefire, get to something that where no longer you're having all this money spent and more importantly, all these lives lost. So he's working for that. And I think they thought that Zelensky was going to come, help him in that effort. But then we have this this meeting that took place and the things that were said there at the Oval Office, which made no sense to me. By the way, Dave, what is the goal? I've never been able to figure out the goal for 3 years. Is the goal to drive Russia out of the new area in the eastern part of Ukraine? Is it to drive them out of Crimea, which they've held for 11 years, which Obama just didn't do anything? Remember, President Trump's the one who at least sent them weapons back in his first administration after Obama wouldn't, which I think prevented Russia from taking more territory then. But I never knew what the objective was. Everyone just kept saying, send more money, it'll work out somehow in the end.
Tanks,
well, that isn't going to
planes.
fly. And President Trump said, no. We're going to figure this out. We're going to stop the killing. We're going to get this solved. And then Zelensky blows it up in the Oval Office, which made no sense to me.
Yeah, me neither. Jim Jordan, as always, appreciate you coming on the program. You take care, sir. Yep.